Welcome everyone to this tutorial where I'll be showing you how to create a window cleaning website. If you're just starting out in your own business or whether you have your own business yourself, this would be great for you starting out as it is just one page, so very simple, and will give you everything that you need to get new clients. And yeah, let's get started. So starting off, I just want to say thank you for clicking on this video, and hopefully you find it useful and you learn something, even if it isn't your first time creating websites. And yeah, just quickly want to say that I am available for work if you do need any help creating websites. And let me not take too much time because I'm just showcasing everything what I have on Figma, which you can also see. It's also linked in the description. So I just went through all the fonts, the colors, and the logo that I'm using, and then just the mock-up that I designed in Figma, which it is available to look at. I won't be allowing any access to it, but yeah, feel free to just take inspiration from that. And yeah, let's get started into creating this website. So I'm just going to create it from a blank website, and of course, you know the deal. We're starting with a blank canvas, and yeah, I'm just skipping a lot of the stuff that isn't really useful, or just speeding it up as well, because it probably is boring to watch me just fiddle around with all these settings, like with these ones as well, just changing the typography and whatnot. But I know it is important to see this stuff, which is why I'm leaving on the screen. So if it is your first time creating a website, please have a look at through all these settings that I'm going through. You know, you can either just pause the video, slow it down, whatever it's easiest best for you, what's best for you to do. So I'm just finishing up with the typography. We'll get to the color, to the color scheme now. And I've linked the color code that I've used in the Figma file if you're interested in using the same color scheme. And what I did there was just repeated the colors there, since Squarespace you have these 5 colors. And then just with the buttons now, I'm just adjusting them to align more with the design that I've created. And yeah, I haven't done much here, just rounded the corners and bolded the typography. Great, so now we're nearly ready. I skipped the form section because I didn't have much to do, but later on I will. And I just had a simple animation, the fade one, because that one's always the best one to use. So let's start off creating the website. So the first thing I always do is just start with adding the logo, and you can, obviously use your logo here. And by the way, I'm going to be working in desktop view first and then mobile, just to keep it simple for use. That's just the way I've learned to design websites, and it's just how my workflow is. As I mentioned before as well, I'm only creating this website as a one-page website, so I'm not having any links in the navigation. So I've removed the homepage from the navigation, and I'm just adding a simple button here that will just be repeated throughout the website, because that's the main goal of this website, is to get you leads and inquiries pretty much. So that is what we're doing. Every button will lead straight down to the footer, which is where I've set up the form. And right now I'm just adjusting all the colors for the buttons. And yeah, I was having a bit of a weird time figuring out why the bold the bold font wasn't working on the primary button. I've tried refreshing the page, so I just gave up on that and just chose the secondary button there. So if it doesn't work for you, you can always just try this solution. And yeah, just changed the colors to fit the design. Right, so I'm going to start off with a blank section here, and then add my background image here, which is just taken from the Figma file. So right now I'm just adjusting the image and adding the border radius to it. And then I also noticed that the image wasn't aligning to the button, so I'm just changing the spacing here. You can also copy that spacing. It's 1400 pixel there. So you can see it's fitting nicely. It's perfectly aligned with the button, which is what I'm going for. And with all the sections, I usually just add a small padding to each of them. It's just personal preference there. So you can use that. You can use the medium or large, but I just feel like it just tidies up the website and all the sections. And right now I'm just adding the text to the hero image, and underneath the heading I'm using just bullet points, which are mainly benefit driven. And the way you want to structure these is just to focus on the benefits for the customer using your service. So you can take this for example, like tidy up the appearance of your home. It's just selling the outcome instead of just like the procedure of you actually cleaning the windows. Just taking that as an example, and then also just to build up trust. I'm also adding the a benefit of over 100 5-star reviews. You can also add to this as well. These are just kind of some bullet points that I just came up with, and yeah, feel free to be inspired by them or just take them. So the hero section is nearly done now. I'm just tidying up everything here and there and just removing some of the spacing and just aligning everything. And as well here, you can play around with the gap, the the distance. I'm I'm just kind of seeing what works best with which gap, and just it's really down just to preference with this and how you what you think is best. There's no real right guide there, but you can follow along and use the the numbers I used there. Great. So on to the next section now. I hope you're keeping along. Just well, I know it's quite fast right now. I'm just speeding up the whole process just so you can just to give you an idea how everything is done. And if you want, you can slow it down and follow along with that if you want. But I'm just speeding through it because it's just more a lot of mixing and matching, fiddling around with everything. So I don't want I don't want this tutorial to take too long, and I just want to give you the main points of every section and what you should do. Like for this one, for example, it's just like a transformation section, and the reason why it's important is that you want to guide the user to understand what happens after they book an appointment with you. So that's what this section basically clears out. And yeah, you can use this section if you want, or you can kind of just add a why choose us section or about us. But I like to go for this because it just clearly states what happens after you book an appointment with us. Okay, so I didn't even realize we finished that section there. That's how quick I I did it there. It was just 300 times speed. So yeah, on to the next section. We're just doing the why choose us section, like I was mentioning before. And yeah, I've just added two shapes there. One with a full outline, one with a transparent background, and they're both using stroke of 2 or 3. And then I also just created this image here that you can also use, feel free to use. And yeah, this now is just with the text really that I'm adding here. So I was finding, I was kind of actually kind of annoyed at this section because it wouldn't let me choose two fonts in the text block, and it was quite annoying, but I just decided to use two text blocks, one after the other, and I think it still turned out okay in this section. So I'm just doing that there, and then I'm just going to copy them and change the text for each one of them. And I'm also just going to add a line for this section. I'm going to actually use two and just play around with the CSS there. Don't worry, I'm going to give you all the CSS to use, so you can just copy and paste, but just make sure to use the block ID in the sections that I've blanked out. And I'll also link to that in the file where you can just install that Google Chrome extension, and then in each section you'll see your block ID, which is pretty useful. If you click on it and obviously open it, you'll see all the block ID. Just copy that and paste it in where you need to paste it. So with the line, say for example with that line, you can copy that block ID and then just add it into the CSS. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If you are still stuck with that, just let me know and I'll help you out. So yeah, you see a bit of the CSS there that I was using, and pretty much just copying the CSS that I use for the other line. And right now I'm just adjusting this section, just playing around with the spacing and the line height of the lines. And yeah, now on to the next section. So this section here will just showcase some of your transformations of the windows, and it's just going to be a simple gallery. Of course, you can just use a gallery section here, but I'm just going to use a static kind of collage. So feel free to use this, or gallery of your liking. So I'm also going to just use a bit of a texture in the background, which is just a star that you see here. And the way I'm achieving this is just removing all the padding from the section and using a fill on the image and just adjusting the focal point of the image so that it doesn't look kind of cut off from the bottom. As you see here now, that's how it's looking. And for the padding from the section, I'm just going to use the spacing that you see here. Yeah, I left two rows free, so you can also do that as well. Just a bit of a hack for you. So right now I'm just adding 3 image blocks here and just adding the images that of course I've taken from the design. And I noticed here that they weren't really working because I just took them straight from the design. And what I decided to do was just remove the stroke and the border radius from the images and just added the own stroke from the CSS, which I've also added to the home image because I thought it was just better doing that instead of just using the actual image with the stroke and the border radius. So I'm just looking through the website now, just seeing what needs to be adjusted, and I noticed here in this section that the padding was just a bit too high, so I made some adjustments there, and then also added the button into the gallery section. And now onto the next section here, which is the testimonials. And this one's quite simple since it's already pre-built, and all we have to do is just adjust some of the design elements. So I just added in some stars as the image, and then I'm adjusting the image size to original because that's the only way that it seems to work. If you want to add like 5 stars in as your kind of reviews, that's probably the best way to do it. And then you can just add in your text, then your quotes, your actual reviews into the description, and then add your name. And now right now I'm just playing around with the spacing and just trying to get it to look right. I usually leave like a 40 pixel distance between the title and the columns, so that's just another thing. And then as well, just change the color of the button, which you can also do by editing the section and going to your color scheme that you're editing for the section. So we're now on to the final part of the website, which is the footer, and this is going to be the main section, and that we're going to get everyone to this section. So we're adding in the form and the text block, which is just emphasizing the offer to get your free quote. And right now I'm just adjusting the form. As you see, it's not really, doesn't look good. So what you want to do here is actually head over to size styles, forms, and then click on colors, and then press the option to use a available theme, and that way it'll bring up this section where you can just edit all the colors manually, which is what I did there. It's just a lot about seeing what ones you need at the time, and yeah, just testing it there now in the field to make sure that it's working, and then also seeing what else needs to be done in this section. So I'm just removing some of the fields and adding some, and yeah, that's kind of it for this section, or for the form, because there's not much to it. And now we're just going to add a bit of information about this company that I've created. So we're just going to be using block text for this, and just basically copying and pasting them, and gonna change the position alignment of the heading text to just make the padding a lot smaller. And then I'm just gonna duplicate these 2 more times and then just change the text from them all, just to, but obviously you can fill it in your own how you want. I'm just giving you an example there. So that's it for the desktop view. You can just have a quick look at how it's looking. You know, I think it actually, it works well. We still have to get back to those buttons, but I'll do it at the end and I'll just show you how to get that done. But ultimately, that's how it's looking, and we're going to just get into the mobile view now. So luckily the mobile view isn't that hard since we're just rearranging all the elements, and this should be fairly straightforward as it's just a lot of resizing elements and moving them to where they should be. You can follow this as a guide, or just stop the video, whatnot, but it's it's fairly straightforward. It's just making sure that all everything is aligned and there's no space in between everything. So it's yeah. I'm just gonna quickly skip through a lot of this section, but feel free to you know to look at this. Oh, and another thing, I forgot to actually do the heading section or the navigation. So I removed the hamburger menu and then just aligned the the logo in the center. So that was it, and then also aligned the the text there in the gallery section for that to be in the center, because in the desktop view it's aligned to the left. So I just adjusted that in CSS, and then yeah, the testimonial is fine. You don't really have to adjust this since it's a pre-made template. And yeah, now we're just onto the footer. Pretty straightforward here, just moving it in a bit more. And yeah, it's pretty much done now. This is why I like using the desktop first and then switching to mobile, because it's just a lot easier and it doesn't take up too much time. I think it took me only like 10-15 minutes to get everything looking well. And now we're on to just attaching the links to the buttons. So what I basically did there was just copy the block ID of the text in the footer, and I used the Squarespace ID Finder Chrome extension, which you can find. I'll link it below in the Word docs. And then what I'm doing is basically just adding that to all the buttons, because what I'll do is just bring you straight down to the footer section. So I just done that with all the buttons, and just making sure that there are, that the the website is looking well in tablet form as well, because I know Squarespace had a few issues with that. I'm not sure if they fixed it or not, but it seemed like it was working. So I'm just checking it now. The way I had to do is just make it passport or password protected. I can't speak. But yeah, this is how the website's looking. Yeah, let me know how you think it turned out. I think actually it's a great website that you could use for yourself, or just even just to get some practice designing websites. This is probably just a great way to start. Quick and simple, has everything you need, and then yeah, just double checking on the phone, just making sure that the buttons bring you straight to the footer. Yeah, you see they're working like a charm. And yeah, that's mostly it. I hopefully you found this video useful if you stuck it through to the end. And if you do like this style of videos where I'm just kind of speeding through my my workflow and the website creation, just let me know if you like that or if you want to slow down. I personally thought it would just be a bit easier since the videos come out a lot shorter and you can just pause it if needs be instead of me cutting through a lot of the sections. But if you did like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and of course comment below what you thought of it. That would really help me to actually would motivate me to do a few more of these videos. So yeah, I appreciate watching this video to the end, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.